Hello everyone! This is Coloring Bliss. My name is Jennifer Stay and you are here for our weekly live event. We are having so much fun with the Koh-I-Noor Tri-Tone Pencils and you have a chance to win your own set of pencils. Now, you have a limited time to enter, so this is the set right here that I'm giving away. I purchased this recently when I was over at, I was going to say Michael's, but it was actually Hobby Lobby, wasn't it? No. It was Michael's. It doesn't matter. I bought it for you and it's sitting right here and it's ready for you to win. So there's a link in the video description and you can follow that link, and there's lots of different ways for you to enter. We're going to be announcing the winner of these pencils next Wednesday during our regularly scheduled live event. So you have a full week to enter, lots of time, no need to rush, but do get over there and get your entry in so that you can win them. But today what we're going to do is finish swatching these pencils. We've been talking about them over with our first hour, which was on Facebook. Our weekly live events are two parts. The first part is on Facebook and the second part is here with you on YouTube. So make sure you are subscribed and you hit your notification bell so that you can be part of our live events and you can also see anytime I upload a video. I'm so glad you're here with us today, and with little Rose, who's sitting back here hanging out so happily on her pillow. So far we have swatched this many of the Koh-I-Noor Tri-Tone pencils. I have a set of 23 colors and one blender, and I'm about to dive into a very interesting pencil. It's called Evening Storm. Let you see what it looks like. Each of the Koh-I-Noor Tri-Tone pencils has this 3 bands of color on the end. Sometimes it's like a light, medium, and dark color, like this one here is light, medium, and dark green. But this one is different. It has like this brighter blue, sort of, I don't know if that's like a grayish blue, and then a red mixed in. And let me sharpen it up so we can see the core really good. And you can understand what's going on with these pencils. That is what the core looks like. So it's different amounts of the color mixed in. It's not like a band of each color going on inside of the pencil. It's different mixes of the pigment coming up at different times. So I'm swatching it here. On the top left, I'm kind of doing more of a burnished pressure, and then I'm going down to a lighter pressure on the bottom right of each square so that we can see what it does. And as I'm coloring, I'm kind of rotating the pencil a little bit in my hand so that the different pigments have a chance to come up inside the square. Now, as soon as I've swatched them all, we're going to do a little bit of art science and check it out and see what they do with different kinds of blender pencils and different blending mediums like Gamsol and petroleum jelly. We're going to try a few different things, and if we have time, we'll do some actual coloring. So we have lots to do, lots of fun things to experiment. And exactly what do you do with pencils like this? When do you color with something like this? And should you even buy any of these? I know since we've been talking over on Facebook, several of you have already put in an order for them because they are quite fun and a very interesting tool to play with. And we were finishing up, everyone was imagining if you had Koh-I-Noor call you up and say, I want you to design your very own tri-tone pencil. What 3 colors would you put together? I want you to comment below in the comments of this video. What 3 colors, if Koh-I-Noor called you, would you put together into your own Koh-I-Noor Tri-Tone pencil? I would love to know the combination you would do. Does it already exist? Would it be something brand new? In your pencil, would you have one color more dominant than the other, or would they all be evenly balanced? It's kind of a cool thing to imagine, to get to design your own pencil. Anyway, I'd also like to say hi to Steve. He's here running the chat for us.
Hello, everybody.
How are you doing, Steve?
I'm doing good.
Good. We got all the watercolor books officially printed.
We do.
So congratulations.
Thank you.
That was a big job. So thanks for doing that for us.
Yeah, you bet.
Now we also have something special coming up. He's like, what? We have World Watercolor Month
yeah.
in July. So
That's
on
right.
July 1st, we're going to have a very special live event. We're going to do it at the same time at 6 p.m. Mountain Daylight Time. And we're going to be launching something very special, a very special surprise for all of you. And I can't tell you anything more other than mark your calendar, make sure you've hit subscribe, hit that little notification bell, and come join us on Monday at 6 p.m. We're going to announce and launch this special event we're doing for World Watercolor Month.
That's right.
So I think we've covered all our business.
I think so.
Okay.
Let's get to coloring.
I want to show them what this cool pencil called Evening Storm.
Ooh.
What does Evening Storm
That's
do?
cool. They put a gray in that?
Yeah. What three colors would you put together?
Oh, I don't know. I'll have to think about that one.
Okay. I bet it would have a blue in it.
Yeah, probably.
Okay, so let's try Evening Storm now. Steve, will you put it in such a manner that they can see what I'm about to swatch?
You bet.
Oh, see? This is going to be an interesting one. Oh, let me get it right there. Okay, so you can see the other swatches. Sometimes it just looks like a nice, pretty yellow or green or a blue. But like in case of this marigold, the darker yellows sometimes come up in unpredictable ways. So this one is going to be an interesting one because we have blue and kind of a gray color and then red, which are three colors that I don't often combine together. They are sort of on different spots on the color wheel, so we don't often combine these. So what are they going to do as they mix together here? Will we get purple? I guess blue and red together you usually get purple, right? But this is a dry medium, not like mixing liquid paints together. So what's going to happen? Anyway, if you know anybody who you think would like to see such a unique coloring tool, make sure you share this video with them. And if you like this kind of video, make sure you hit a thumbs up for me. Little Rose is so sound asleep back there. Okay, now I'm going to do light pressure. Oh, lots of gray just came up. So Koh-I-Noor makes several different products, not just this one line of pencils. And I believe Steve got links to a few of them for you in the video description if you want to go check it out. They also make some woodless color pencils that I adore. I love their woodless color pencils. Okay.
Got more, a lot of great ideas for color combinations.
Ooh, I'd love to hear a few
Pink,
more.
fuchsia, and cream.
Oh, I
Purple,
like
sage green, and peach.
purple, sage green, and peach. Ooh.
Ooh, this one sounds pretty. Patty says dark umber, cinnamon, and yellow ochre.
Oh, I like that. Okay, now over on Facebook, we had a lot of people suggesting like a purple and pink combinations. This one is called Violets, and it's got pink, purple, and a blue. So let's see what this one does. And it definitely needs sharpening before we get going here. And maybe a little bit more. Carl is so aggressive with his sharpening. I have to be careful.
Margie says, Evening Storm reminds me of something from Stranger Things.
Oh, ooh, spooky. We have been rewatching Stranger Things at our house, getting ready for the release of the new season. You're right, it does kind of feel scary like that. Okay. So here comes the color Violets. This is an interesting one too. I kind of like these ones that are a little bit more of a unexpected combinations. Although the ones that are more expected combinations, I think you could figure out how to use them more often, like in leaves and grass and trees and things, where some of these more unusual ones might be a little more tricky to figure out where to use them. So on the when we were talking on Facebook, excuse me, people who already own these were giving suggestions of how they use these pencils. So if you own these pencils, I'd love to know, how do you use these? Which situations do you bring these out for? So it seems like the violet and the blue is definitely more dominant than the pink in this one. Doing light pressure back here.
Katara says the best things about these pencils are that they're self-shading and lining.
Yeah. Okay, that's the violets. Okay, the next one is also one that a lot of people were saying they would like. Pink, pink, and pinks, I think somebody said, right?
So.
This one is definitely 3 tones of pink. This one's more of a magenta type color here. So it's gonna, I think it's going to lean, although look at the core is definitely more light pink in tone. So let's see what it does. Okay. What will this pencil do? I'm hoping I have time to color something like some flowers or something. I am on our color pencil paper, which is usually the best paper I know of for coloring with color pencils.
Michaela would love to see what Evening Storm looks like if burnished in with a white colored pencil.
Ooh, that's a really good idea.
Roberta says, I did a background on one page and on another I used it on a house and then on bricks.
Oh, that's great. A background would be really neat.
Jackie thinks the Evening Storm would look great coloring steampunk pages.
Oh yeah, that's totally that feeling.
And Angela loves hers with flowers and mandalas.
Mm-hmm. I like it when the tools kind of inspire you to do something different too. Okay, this one's really different. Are you ready, Steve? This one has red, purple, and black in it. And this one's called Spanish Night. I'm going to give it a sharpening so we can take a look at the core and see which color we think is going to be the most dominant in this one. Okay, there's the core. Definitely, I don't know. There's a lot of red I'm seeing and some black. I don't see a lot of purple. Let's see what it does. This is going to be really interesting. Okay, here we go. Oh. This is not what I expected. Okay, I'm trying to rotate the pencil to get some of the other colors to come up. There's a whole bunch of red that just came up. Look at that. Wow. What do we think of Spanish Night? This is, I can't wait to hit Spanish Night with like some odorless mineral spirits. Like I said, these ones with the unexpected combinations are kind of more exciting to me, more inspiring.
Roberta's asking if you're rotating the pencil.
Yeah, right here especially I rotated it because it felt like all I was getting was the black tone. Okay, let's go really light right here and see if we get that patchy feeling that I was getting on some of the other pencils. Trying to do little circles, sometimes stripes, see what feels best. Swatching is such a great way to learn your tools. Figure out how to use these creatures. Ooh, now I'm really getting a what's the show that we're watching? I'm really getting a vibe from that show with this one. Yeah. This looks like the dark side of this one. Like you could use this to shade Evening Storm.
Yeah. Tika thinks that Spanish Night is would be a good one for goth Halloween type images.
Oh yeah. Okay, now we've got some more interesting combinations coming up here. This one's called Sunset. Oh, I already wrote it down. Woohoo! We can just swatch. Okay, let's sharpen it and take a peek at Sunset. It's got yellow, pink, and red in it.
Donna asked, how do they feel when coloring with them?
The words I like to use, like Prismacolors, I usually call those more of a creamy type pencil. Polychromos, I usually call those more of like a buttery type feeling. These are definitely not creamy. They are more of a hardcore type pencil. They lean more towards a buttery type feeling. Probably not as buttery as a Polychromos type pencil. So they're definitely more hardcore type pencil. So it's more work to lay these down than my Prismacolors that I love so much. One of the main reasons I love Prismacolor pencils is because of how easy they are to lay down. Okay, here comes Sunset. You saw we got a lot of red at first. Now the yellow is peeking through. Oh, this one, someone said they like to color with flames with their tritones. This one's definitely giving me flame vibes. Ooh, hair would be fun. Some red hair with this pencil.
Margie says Spanish Night is like if the Upside Down had its own Upside Down.
That's right. Ooh, scary show. Oh, this one's pretty.
Carolyn says, I just got a great idea for the watercolor swatch book. I'm going to use the extra blank ones and turn them over and just paint away.
Good idea. Okay. Ooh, then the yellow right here at the end. Ooh, this might be one of my favorite pencils right here. Ooh, are we loving this one? That one, I think, might be a contender for one of my most favorites.
Kelly says, I can't wait to watch this all again. I've been so puzzled by these pencils.
Yeah.
And Adriana loves that sunset color. Thinks it's beautiful.
Yeah, the yellow kind of gives a peachy vibe, and yeah, that's a neat one. Okay, this one's Poppy. It's definitely a light, medium, and dark of sort of red-orangish tones.
Ooh, Linda's very creative. She says a combo of pinks that includes pink rose and call it Rosy Delight.
What do you think, Rose? We could call it Rosy Delight?
Carolyn asked, can these be purchased open stock?
Oh, I'm not sure. We'd have to check. Probably dickblick.com is where I would research that.
Jackie says, I would think they'd be fun on clothing.
Oh yeah, like a denim. These could make good denim type or flannel type feelings.
Katara asked, is the watercolor paper we use sized on both sides of the page?
I think it is. I did some testing and practiced like lifting on both sides, and I got the feeling it was sized on both sides. So I think you can do watercolor techniques on both sides. There's a different texture on one side versus the other, so pay attention to that. But as far as sizing goes, I think you're good to go. This pencil feels softer. That's interesting. Okay, rotating. This one's kind of like these blues up here where it's just kind of coming out as a nice blend, an overall blend, not different colors coming out at different times. So it would be good if you just need a nice overall reddish color.
Dana says, I've been in a big coloring slump, but I'm slowly coming out of it. I love these colors. Hopefully I'll get out of this slump soon. My Swatch Bliss book is supposed to arrive tomorrow. I can't wait.
Ooh, fun. Must have been in one of those latest shipments. Well, swatching is one of my most favorite ways to get out of a slump. And I think it's because I really do get inspired by my tools. I think I get more inspired by my tools than by things to color. I love my art tools. Okay, that's Poppy. All right, here comes another really strange one. This one's called Volcano, Steve. This one has like a kind of a army green, an orange, and another red. Okay. And look at the tip on this one. This is definitely a good mix of all three colors.
Ooh, that's
so
cool.
this is going to be interesting.
So Kelly asked, are the 3 color combos on each pencil meant to follow a complementary mix or split complementary, or are they just by theme?
That's kind of what we've been trying to puzzle out. Like I said over on Facebook, if you were I keep calling him Mr. or Mrs. Smith working at Koh-I-Noor, and it was your job to make these tritones, what was he or she thinking? And it seems to be kind of a mix. If you look at the different bands on here, sometimes it's a really nice light, medium, and dark of like yellow or blue or green or red. But sometimes it's these really odd combinations like this one that we're working on called Volcano. And I don't even know what they were thinking when they put this together. And maybe Mr. or Mrs. Smith just said, this looks cool, and put it together.
It'd be interesting to know what their thought process was.
Yeah, and so that's why I started out the video saying, what 3 combinations would you put together? Because I think it's kind of neat to imagine if you got to make your own pencil, what would you do?
Pat says, I don't use a blender on my tritones. I like the way they are when I color with them.
Yeah, and I think it's interesting that they supply a blender. Maybe they were concerned that people would do what I'm doing right now and go, holy cow, what am I supposed to do with this big band of yellow versus this big band of red? I don't know how to do this, you know. Maybe they were afraid of that, and that's why they include a colorless blender with all their sets. I don't know. But this is what inspires me and makes me excited.
Well, yeah, it's just fun, you know.
Yeah. So I'm rotating the pencil as I go on purpose so that the other sides of the tip come up and we get different pigments showing as I color. So I'm on purpose just letting that pencil roll around in my hand. I'm going to go back and burnish back here in a second to see what it does. And now I'm going lighter pressure here to see if it looks, what is it going to look like? Patchy and weird? Like I didn't color correctly? Or is it going to look the most amazing thing I've ever done? I don't know. That's what we're finding out here.
Katara doesn't like their blender. She feels it's very stiff and scratchy.
And I've played around with my blender a little bit. Kind of have the same feeling you do. So we're going to do a head-to-head test here with my favorite blender, which is the Prismacolor Blender. And we'll see what it does. We're also going to try a few other blending techniques.
BB wonders if the odd mixes were done by 5-year-olds.
Yeah. My little 6-year-old nephew said, do this, this, this. And they're like, okay, whatever.
Wouldn't it be funny if you found out that's really how they did it?
It was Mr. Smith's nephew that did it.
Kelly says, I think I need to not overthink them and just experiment. I think I've been trying too hard to figure out blends and stuff and missing out on just the fun.
Yeah, I do the same thing. You're not alone. Color pencils, I think I tend to be really like, they should obey me. But this, I think, is a tool that is kind of meant to do its thing, right? Like watercolor. Watercolor does its thing. And you kind of have to follow watercolor's rules. I think that's kind of what's happening here. Ember is going to be another pencil that we're just going to have to play by its rules. Look at the 3 colors that come in Ember. Steve's going to like this one. This one feels like a manly one. Are there any other men here? Tell me, is this a manly pencil? I'm curious. We've got orange, red, and black. Steve, is this manly?
Yes.
Okay, so, and look at that core. Is that not really cool and inspiring and beautiful? Look at it, Steve. Isn't that pretty?
That is really cool.
Okay, let's see what it does. Are we ready? Oh, it's just pretty. I just want like nails just like that. Can I put my fingernail? Can I just put my right onto my nails like those would be neat. Okay, here we go.
Yeah, let's it does look like magma.
Yes.
Dana thinks the volcano would be beautiful with a flower.
Oh, yes. Yeah, see, volcano is sort of a dark version of sunset, maybe. And same with Spanish night, seems to be a dark version of evening storm. And again, this is why swatching is really good, because if you did want to attempt to kind of put together some darks and lights, this would help you match that up and kind of understand, well, this would help me shade here, and I could combine this here. This one's giving me really good like vibes for bark on wood, or
yeah, people keep mentioning like fire and
yeah,
that kind of stuff.
Brick.
Oh, but not specifically this pencil, but some of the others.
Yeah, this one here is really leaning on the black side, like dark browns. This would be really good in wood. You know, I'll bring out 4 or 5 pencils to get this exact look on a log. When you're coloring a log, this would take 4 or 5 pencils to make this one color.
Tika thinks they should make some with a metallic silver, or gold, or rose gold thrown into the mix.
Oh, yes. You know, I wonder if I still have that contact at Koh-I-Noor. I think I have a card for someone at Koh-I-Noor. I wonder if we could, the family of Coloring Bliss would like to suggest some new color tritones.
Cool. Jackie thinks they'd be great as backgrounds.
Yeah.
That really is very neat.
This one is totally
again
a
just
wood.
Mixing colors that you wouldn't necessarily think to mix. You know?
Letting the tools inspire you and letting it guide your inspiration and your creativity. Sometimes, you know, we work really hard to make the tool do what we want, and maybe in this case we're going to let the tool teach us something here. Yeah, that's neat. Again, I'm getting a Stranger Things vibe. I think we've been watching Stranger Things a little bit too much. Okay, now the next one is another fun combination. I think it's going to feel a little bit more normal though. This one's called Tiger, and we've got a yellowy orange, an orange, and a nice like a brown, burnt browny color here. Again, the decisions they made weren't just the 3 colors they put together, but the amounts of each color. They don't seem to be evenly weighed. Sometimes, like this one here seems more heavy to the yellow and the orange, a little less of the brown. So let's see what this does. Again, how did they make these decisions?
Katrina likes them for bricks on buildings.
Oh yeah, like that one there would make that one too. Depending on the feel of your painting, is it more of a warm toned painting? You could have warm toned bricks. Is it a cool toned painting? This could be a good brick for a cool toned painting. I mean coloring. So you could pick the right pencil for the right feel of the coloring you're doing. Okay, so I thought this pencil was going to be more like how Poppy blended out to be more like one tone, but we're getting some nice, more unexpected moments like we did over here in Ember and Spanish Night. This is another fun one. I'm getting like autumn pumpkin vibes here.
Oh, Polly just donated. Thank you, Polly.
Polly, thank you so much. How did she donate? Isn't she at Dick Blick?
She's done at Dick Blick, and they didn't have the tritones
They
there.
didn't have them.
No, she said she wasn't too naughty, just naughty enough.
Oh, that store is a dangerous store for me. I think it's extra dangerous for me because Steve enables me at that store.
Yeah.
He's like, you need this, he says. It's easy to justify things at that store because it's for our business. I need it.
That's right. Now, our boys would appreciate this comment. Katara says, Spanish Nights looks like Netherrack in Minecraft.
Oh, yeah. Whoa. They haven't played that in a while, but I used to play with them. You know, I was a good mom. I was like, if I'm going to be with my child, I'm going to have to play this game. But I remember going to the Nether...
Yeah, the Netherrack.
The Netherrack. I was scared of the Netherrack. Why was I scared of it? I'm trying to remember why.
Kelly says that July 1st is Canada Day, so
Ooh.
our event will be a great ending to the day before fireworks.
I forgot that July 1st was Canada Day. Shame on me. I used to live in Canada. I should know that.
Polly says Jan is an enabler too.
Yes, he's awesome. Okay, that's Tiger.
And Jennifer thinks it's a good thing there is no Dick Blick store where she lives.
Probably so. Okay, this next one is called Earth Tones. And again, we've got 3 nice browns. This kind of gives me 70s vibes. Like, I remember my mom having a couch in these colors. So we've got a light, medium, and a dark in browns. So we'll see if this would be a good one for trees.
Amy says that she's played Minecraft with her daughter for years.
Yep. Okay, this one seems like it might be a little bit off-centered. You can tell because you sharpen it and you get one side that is higher of wood and then this side that gets really low with the wood. The best way to take care of a pencil like this is to not use a sharpener like this, but to use a sharpener that's like a Coom or my Alvin Brass Bullet, these types of sharpeners. Just giving you a little pencil sharpening 101. If you sharpen with one of these, then you can carefully sharpen the side that has a little extra wood like that and get it to be a little bit more usable. And then you just want to be aware of it as you're coloring because it is off-centered. Sometimes it's easier to break the lead as you're coloring with an off-centered pencil. So that's just a little pencil sharpening 101. Okay, and that's something to write down on the side as well to remind myself, so when I pull these out next time, I can remember to be mindful and careful with the earth tone pencil. So that's where this notes column on the side of these pages comes in really handy. So I'm going to write earth tones is off-centered. Centered. Be careful. Okay.
Oh, thank you, Jerry Brown. She says, happy shopping, Jerry Ann.
Oh, thank you so
Donated.
much. Are you writing their names down, Steve, so we can say thank you at the end?
Yep.
Okay. Earth tones. Here we go. So this one's definitely going to be a nice dark brown. Very little of the light brown colors are coming through on this one. We'll see if I'm right. As the medium tone is the main dominant color that comes through. We'll see here. Ooh, this is a really pretty brown. I tend to lean towards more reddish browns. Are you guys that way? I like me a reddish brown. I'm not an ashy brown kind of person. I like reddish browns. When you pick a brown, what kind of brown do you pick? How's that for a question? I'm definitely a reddish brown person. Okay, rotating the pencil in my hand. Ooh, that's a different tone of brown right there. There's more of that ashy brown that just came up. Interesting. Again, if you're coloring wood and stuff, usually I would bring up several different browns to give that depth of color, make it feel more natural and more interesting to look at. And in one pencil, you get multiple tones. So you don't have to bring out multiple pencils. That's pretty handy. Okay, there is earth tones.
Jackie says chocolate brown.
Yeah. Okay, this is our last one. This one also feels manly to me because it's blacks and grays like a truck. Steel, chrome. Okay, let's sharpen this one. Oh, and it's called metal. Mr. Smith.
It really is cool to have all these colors that, you know, that are so good for these materials like metal, like wood,
Yeah.
like, leaves and foliage. These things that always have so many different blended colors in them.
Yeah. So I think the next thing we want to do is try some blending. We're going to do the actual blending pencil it came with, and we're going to try some different blending solvents and things. So I would like you guys to tell Steve in the chat below, which pencil would you like me to play with? We want to play with one of these interesting ones so that we can see if it will blend together the colors. So let's not pick like Forest or Meadow or Citrus or Flame. Let's pick one of these more interesting ones like Spanish Night, Ember, Volcano, Tiger, Evening Storm, one of these ones, okay? So comment in the chat, thank you, which one of these interesting ones that you would like me to use as our guinea pig pencil, okay? As I finish swatching out the last pencil. And this is Metal. And it's nice that they provide a gray. I love that they do that. This is definitely a cooler gray, don't you think? Feels like a cooler gray. Although I can never really tell until I start putting the grays next to each other. That's how I have to
So Michaela came in first with Evening Storm.
Okay, that's this one here.
And Mary Lynn, Spanish Night.
These two are really neat. I guess we could do two,
Yeah.
So
then we got Ember, Volcano, or Tiger.
Everybody's just going to be all over the board.
Evening Storm, Ember, Evening Storm, Spanish Night, Evening Storm. They like a lot of them.
So Steve, you're going to have to be the one to kind of tell me which one to start with.
Okay, I'll do that.
So it's all on Steve, you guys. Okay, I'm getting more sloppy as we go. Okay, I've got to do my burnishing up here. So this is definitely a darker gray, but I would say it's a cool gray. So it would pair well with like Spanish Night, any of your cooler colors. Okay, but it blends out well. There wasn't like a moment where I felt like these ones here where some of the pigments were stronger than others. So it definitely blends out nicely. Okay, so that's the set of 24. Don't forget that you have a chance to win the set of 12, so make sure you enter for your chance to win that. Now, I also have a really awesome worksheet right here that if you would like to download this worksheet, the way you get this worksheet is by becoming a Bliss partner. There is a full workshop where we spent, might have been close to 2 hours, going through this worksheet and teaching you how to analyze color pencils. We go through everything, how to erase, how to blend. This is how you analyze color pencils, and you get this worksheet as part of that workshop. So if you haven't checked out how to become a Bliss partner, make sure you follow the link in the video description and go on over to coloringbliss.com and learn about becoming a partner. When you become a partner, you get all kinds of worksheets, and over 40 hours worth of workshops are already there archived and waiting for you. So I highly recommend that you go and check it out, because there is a lot to learn and so much fun to be a part of as a Bliss partner. Okay, so let's play now. Which one are we going to play with, Steve?
What was the first one I said?
You said Evening Storm.
Okay. Evening Storm.
Okay.
Then Spanish Night.
Evening Storm is this
then
one
Ember,
right
then
here.
Volcano or Tiger.
Evening Storm, then Spanish Night.
Yeah.
And then Tiger.
And then Ember.
Tiger. Where's Tiger? It's down
No,
here.
I said Ember.
Oh, Ember. Okay. Where's Ember? Right here. Okay, that's 3 pencils.
Okay.
That should be plenty. Okay, so the first thing I want to show you is how well their blending pencil works versus a Prismacolor Colorless Blender pencil. So let's bring up Evening Storm, which has the blue, grayish tone and a red. Okay, so I'm going to color out and rotate my hand as I go here. So we get lots of different pigment tones coming up. Look how pretty that is. Oh, wow, that's just satisfying. Look at that. Looks like I did 3 different pencils. Okay, so this is their colorless blender. I'm going to give it a sharpening here. And you can see how kind of dirty it looks. I'm going to show you fresh in the package that it kind of looks like that a lot. I'm going to try to clean it off here because it's picking up some of the colors from the helix. Oh, we have a break. Oh, that's a bad break. But this is to my point. Look how, okay, look inside the core of this thing. Can you see that? Oh yeah, you can see that. See how weird it is? It's weird. It's weird. See that, Steve?
Let me see. Oh. Huh.
It's weird.
That is really weird.
We're going to sharpen it with my comb. Actually, this is the Alvin Brass bullet.
Hey, Drast, where can I get those?
Get what?
These colored pencils.
Oh, okay. You can get them at, I got these, I think it was Michael's. I've seen them at Hobby Lobby. You can get them at Amazon. I put a link for an Amazon link in the video description. And I believe dickblick.com has them. So all over. Okay. Sharpen it up here and see if we can have some success. Okay, see how dirty it comes out? It's like a rotten tooth. I hate to describe any art tool like a rotten tooth, but don't you think it looks like a rotten tooth? Oh, it's just really disturbing. Anybody else who has this, is yours like a rotten tooth? I don't know. It's giving me the heebie-jeebies. Okay, let's see what it does. Are we ready? I'm going to write right here, Koh-I-Noor Blender versus Prismacolor. Ooh, I'm still having the heebie-jeebies. Okay. This is the Koh-I-Noor. Okay, so I'm doing medium to heavy. Let's be honest. This is pretty heavy pressure here.
What are they made of?
The Colorless Blender is typically similar filler material as to what's inside the core of this. Sometimes it's more dense type filler material.
Soraya says that blending pencil is a stranger thing.
Yeah. It's from the upside down. It's all rotted from the upside down. Okay, so it did blend. It did what it proclaims it's going to do. Okay, now let's bring up Prismacolors. Prismacolors tends to be softer, which you would hope for, right? I'm going to clean off the tip from the last time it was used so we don't get any pigment mixed in. But even Prismacolors Colorless Blender is going to be a harder feel, a more... Prismacolor Premier pencils are very soft and creamy, right? The Prismacolor Premier Colorless Blender is not as soft and creamy as its counterpart pencils. The filler in it is more dense and more dense, so it's not exactly the same feel. But this is way more gritty than this. So let's see if it does a better job. Wow, that was really difficult for me to explain. It should not have been as difficult. Okay, right away I can tell I'm not having to push as hard. And oh my goodness, look how much more vivid the pigments are. You can see without even zooming down, but I'm going to have Steve zoom down. And you can see right away we're getting much more vivid result. The colors are just more vivid, and that's what I love about the Prismacolor Blender. Look at that. It makes the colors just go. It's so much fun. I keep in my purse, the bag that I make Steve haul everywhere, has 24 Prismacolor Premier pencils and 1 colorless blender. And I can do this all day because it's just, oh, and you just color a little bit and oh, and then the colors just go. And it's beautiful. I love me a good Prismacolor colorless blender. But look at the difference. So yes, the Koh-I-Noor blender will blend, but it's a terrible experience. I hate to say that about any art supply, but this was a terrible heebie-jeebie creepy experience. This was a beautiful, happy, made the colors do what I wanted it to do experience. So
you've had a couple requests. One to try blending with a Kleenex. Another with the white pencil.
Okay, let's do white pencil. Let's bring up Spanish Night now. And we're going to do the same thing. Rolling the pencil in my hand so we get lots of different pigments coming up.
Michaela asked, are they oil-based?
I think they're wax-based, but like I said before, I've decided that I don't care. Wax and oil are both petroleum, and it doesn't really matter in the end, right? Did I just start an argument?
You may.
I may have started a big argument. But in the end, wax and oil are both petroleum based, and it really doesn't matter. I hope I didn't cause an argument. All right, so someone wanted me to use a tissue. Will you have me a tissue? This is a straight up tissue.
Danny thinks that the Koh-I-Noor blender makes it look muddy.
Yeah, and look how, oh, the colors, that's the word for it. It's okay, here's just a plain tissue, which I think looks just as good as the okay, but look how far the pigment goes. I mean, that's pretty impressive. Look at that pigment. It goes for days. That's pretty impressive. Okay, you can use just a plain blending stump to blend, right? With nothing on it. Okay, let's bring up a white pencil. We're not going to just do any old white pencil though, or are we? Here is polychroma white. Let's blend a white pencil on top of it. This is polychromos, which we know is oil-based, but it's not my favorite white, right? It's a more transparent white.
Margie and Kelly agree with you.
Oh, I didn't start a fight?
No.
They agree with me that it doesn't really matter.
I'm sure
they do have different feels.
Need for it in the comments
afterwards.
Right.
Wax and oil, if it's more on the oily side, it has a different feel. That's that buttery versus creamy feeling I'm talking about. So in the world of feel, yes.
Well,
but in the world of
about wax bloom and stuff like that.
Yeah, in the world of performance, maybe, but okay.
Maybe you'd care about it more if it was like you're coloring pieces to be sold and that kind of stuff, you know.
Okay, that's a white on top. Somewhere I have another white. Let's just grab a Prisma.
Ooh, where's your Derwent Chinese white?
That's in that. I put it to the side because I'm finishing that gray scale coloring page for the Bliss Partners. Oh. Where did I put it? There's that clear tray somewhere that I put a bunch of supplies in. Do you see that somewhere? Looking. Is it back there on the table? I'm finishing a grayscale coloring page for the... This is Prismacolor now, which is one of my favorite whites. Not the most opaque white, but can you see the difference between Prismacolor, because it's more opaque, versus Polychromos, which is more transparent. But you know, it's a totally different look. So it depends on the look you're after. You can get 2 different looks with 2 different white pencils. Isn't that cool? Both of them, though, will blend and give you that creamy sort of stormy type look. It's really neat. Great way to blend. So I'm going to mark that. This was Prisma. white. This was poly white. Is it 2 L's or 1? 1. Poly white. This was a dry stub. And this was tissue. Okay. All right, let's get into some solvents now.
Katrina personally thinks for some things it's best not to blend the tritones.
Mm-hmm. I agree. Was this Spanish Night? I'm getting confused. Let's go in with Ember.
Adriana asked, does wax versus oil matter more for longevity, for like professional pieces?
No. That is all about light fast, and that has to do with pigments. So that you have to go to the manufacturer's website and download their light fast rating charts. And that's another whole discussion. And if you want that discussion, I've done it on other videos, and you can become a Bliss partner, and we talked in depth about that on that when we did our discussion about how to analyze color pencils. We talked a lot about light fast information. That was a long discussion. That was awesome, but long.
Michaela was asking because she's wondering if, it's okay to blend the oil pencils with the wax pencils.
Yep. They all play really well together because it's all petroleum based. And that plays into why you can use something like Aquaphor or Vaseline, anything petroleum based, to blend your pencils because they play well together, right? Oil loves oil. They go together really well. They like to be together. When you mix two oily products together, they play well together. So I'm going to use an oil-based product right now to blend. One of my favorite ways to do it is with the Prismacolor Colorless Blender. There's lots of ways to apply petroleum jelly. So what I usually do is I put a little dab of petroleum jelly on the back of my hand. You can put it on a plate, you can, whatever you want. I just put it on the back of my hand. You can pick it up with a cotton swab. You can pick it up with an actual color pencil. You can pick it up with a blending stump. You can pick it up with a colorless blender, which is my particularly favorite way to do it. One thing you need to remember is if you pick it up with an actual color pencil, make sure you wipe off all of that petroleum jelly off of your color pencil because it will sit on there and sort of mushify the tip. Technical term. So don't just leave it on there because when you come back to it in a few days, the tip will be like all weird and nasty, and it's because you left the petroleum jelly on there. So I like to use my colorless blender, which I carry with me at all times, and I have a tiny little tube of this that's like lip balm size of Vaseline, and I squish a little tiny bit out. That's what I do while I'm at church. I squish a little tiny bit out onto my hand, and then I use my colorless blender and I dip right into it like that. Pick up a small amount, and then you can go in and do your blending right, very detailed, right into the tiny little areas that you want to blend out. And that petroleum jelly just goes in there. And oh boy, look at that. So I could go in, which is kind of cool about using the pencil. I could go in and just blend this one streak of black, for instance, and keep it there, but make it deeper and take away all of the graininess of color pencils. You guys know what I'm talking about. What it does is it sort of melts the it melts all the fillers and the pigments, and it allows the all of it to kind of melt down into the cracks in the teeth of the paper. Now up here, when I was doing all of this, I was having to use burnishing pressure, really heavy pressure to achieve all of this. By using the petroleum jelly, I can do medium to light pressure and achieve the same beautiful look. Now, I always get asked, does this leave behind a strange waxiness because of the petroleum jelly? Yes, it does feel a little sticky, but it will dry. So just leave it out to where it can dry and it will go away and it'll be beautiful and ready to go. Is this archival? Maybe not, but it sure does work beautiful. See how pretty? less pressure. My hand doesn't wear out. This is fantastic. Woo, my voice. Wow. Okay, so that's petroleum jelly. Look how gorgeous. I'm getting too excited. It's making my throat go funny. Okay, but look at all the crud on the tip of my pencil. Oh my. That's the stuff I'm talking about that needs to be wiped off so that your tip of your pencils don't go funky. And then whatever you have left over on your hand can just be rubbed in. And so, you know, if church is over or your doctor calls you to come in for your appointment, you just hurry and rub it in. And you're all nice and moisturized and ready to go.
Adriana asked, will you need to wipe off the tip more so you don't drag the darker color onto the lighter?
You can just wipe it off as much as you want. Usually what I do is just wipe on the tip of on my hand like that, and then pick up a clean amount, and then wipe off and pick up a clean amount just like that.
And Kelly asked, can you isolate the lighter colors in these tones when you blend, or do you just have to go for it?
See, I was able to do it. Let's try again. Get a little bit more out here. So technically you can use like olive oil. Let's blend just right here where this orange was. Yeah, see? Yeah. And then if I clean it off and pick up and go right next to it where that really dark brown came out, and say, oh, now I want to blend that brown into the red next to it and do some
kind of cool. You know, you could
circular
really bring
motions.
Like I can imagine coloring, you know, bark, that type of thing, and being able to bring out some of those edges.
Yeah, the streaks in the bark, and yeah. Okay, and then clean it off. And then this just rubs in. It just disappears on your hand.
Christy likes the fact that it leaves the different colors of the tritones intact.
Yeah, so that's really fun. Okay, let's try some Gamsol.
Blue Petal says you'd love liquid petroleum jelly.
Ooh, liquid petroleum jelly.
Yes.
Interesting. Okay, I'm really sticky now. My hands aren't soaking it in anymore. Here, let me give you some. Oh, your hands are dry. You needed some. We do live in the desert here, and summer is like the worst time. I don't know, winter gets really bad. The only time it doesn't seem to really dry my skin out is the spring. That's like the only time. Okay, let's try a little bit of Gamsol and see what it does now. Gamsol is a name brand for odorless mineral spirits. You can buy just off-brand odorless mineral spirits and you're good to go. You don't have to buy the name brand. Okay, health and safety. We have to do health and safety. Odorless mineral spirits is toxic. It is flammable. Use it in an open, well-ventilated room. Do not leave it unsupervised around pets, kids, all that good stuff. So be careful with odorless mineral spirits. You are adults. You know what you're doing. Many art supplies are not safe. So just be smart and wise, okay? All right, I'm going to drink a little bit more. Okay, and I didn't label that this was petroleum jelly. Oh, I'm sorry, you guys. Okay. So I just keep it away from Rose. She's usually pretty smart to stay away from my art supplies. I've trained her not to get near them. But as you can see, she puts her nose right into what I'm doing. So I would never leave her alone with this bowl. Never, ever. Or the things I'm going to dip into it. So once I'm done here, this goes straight into our bathroom and gets cleaned off. And nothing that was used with it gets left here. Just so you guys know, that's how I handle this stuff. And this bottle gets put away and everything. So it is true. And yeah, this is real nasty stuff. Okay, so this is a blending stump. It's just pressed paper. And if you're going to buy one of these, make sure you pick up some sandpaper, or if you go into the architecture area, they have these like in the architecture drafting area, they have these little pads of sandpaper like this. This was only $1.40. If you use your 40% off coupon, it's even cheaper than $1.40, and it fits in your pencil case really easy. And this is how you clean off your blending stumps. You can also sharpen your pencils on here. That's, I think, how the drafting people use these, is they sharpen their pencils to the teeniest, tiniest points. Or you can just use whatever sandpaper you've got handy hanging around. Okay. It's a bit of a pain, but not too bad. You can use a cotton swab or other things to apply your Gamsol. You can also use a paintbrush. I kind of like these though. It helps me control the amount of Gamsol. Oh, this sheet has had it. It's not very gritty anymore. And then when it gets to where it's not very gritty, you just tear it off and you have a nice fresh piece right underneath. Okay, and then when you have a mess, I'm not going to blow because those crumbs are full of odorless mineral spirits. So we're going to use Bessie the cow, my little desk vacuum. Okay, there we go. So you dip it into the tiny puddle of odorless mineral spirits and it soaks it up. And then we're going to see what this does. Ooh. So what this does is, again, it melts all the waxes and the fillers and allows the pigments to soak down into the tooth or the texture of the paper. The great thing about odorless mineral spirits, it doesn't leave behind anything, no residue, and it doesn't hurt the texture of your paper. So when you're laying down your pencil, if you're very careful and you don't press or anything, it will maintain the texture of your paper. So once you've done this, you can go back over it again and keep layering upon layer, and you can really build up some really interesting things with your coloring. You know how you get to a point with your coloring where it just feels like you can't put more layers on because your paper is so full of color pencil, right? Well, odorless mineral spirits gets rid of all of that. I'm going to try doing little circles and see if it would blend together these stripes. Yeah, see, this one kept the stripes and this one is starting to bring all those colors together.
Now they need a little cow vacuum.
Yeah. Every time I bring out Bessie, everybody gets excited about Bessie. I bought her when I started buying pastels because when you learn about pastels and the toxicity in the pigments that they use to make pastels, and knowing that I do my art right next to rose, I didn't want to be blowing the crumbs and the dust of the pastels into the air for Rose to breathe. I'm more worried about Rose than I am about myself. Isn't that funny? So I wanted a little vacuum that I could suck up the toxic pastel dusts so that my dog wouldn't get sick. So that's why I bought it, but I use it for everything now. I suck up eraser dust. I use it for so many things, and
Jerry
works
Ann
really good.
Jerry Ann has the cow, and Jack has the cat. And Teresa says she has the ladybug.
And they are so great when you have a niece or nephew come over. You can put them to work and they will vacuum your whole area. Like my little, I don't want to say names because they're not my kids. I can't say their names. But when she comes over, that's like, can I use Bessie? And she'll just vacuum everything and get rid of all the dust. It's so cute. Okay, so this is Odorless Mineral Spirits. If you ever see this abbreviation, OMS, in the groups, the Facebook groups and stuff, that's what they're talking about. Took me a long time to learn that. Odorless Mineral Spirits.
Now Danny wants to see Evening Storm with the Gamsol.
Okay. And then I think after that, we're going to call it quits for the night. So if there's any last minute requests, Evening Storm? Evening Storm right here. What was our favorite, you guys? The blenders, the white, the petroleum jelly, or the odorless mineral spirits? Or just alone? What was our favorite? Okay, I'm going to do light pressure, really light pressure, and then we're going to do heavy pressure, and we're going to blend it all and see what it does. Okay, now heavy pressure. So remember, if you're using odorless mineral spirits, typically you always use light to medium pressure like this. So you're preserving and taking care of the texture of your paper. So I wouldn't necessarily do the heavy pressure, but I'm just curious to see what it's going to do with the odorless mineral spirits. Ah, that's such a pretty pencil. Oh, look at that neat color it does. So pretty. Okay, I'm going to put a little bit more.
Maggie asked, the pastels you mentioned being toxic are oil or chalk?
Chalk. Well, technically, a lot of our art supplies, did you know a lot of them have
like anything that's cadmium?
Cadmium. Right? Anything with the word cadmium. And now, I gotta be careful here. I don't want to alarm anyone, because not all cadmiums have it's a metal, right? Is it so. Cadmium a metal?
Well, is it like lead?
It's some sort of like lead. But like we have markers that are called cadmium, but it doesn't necessarily mean it has cadmium in it. It's just similar to that color, right? So watercolors have cadmium, actual metal in it that's toxic. Same with the pastels. They have cadmium in it, and what happens is you're coloring with your pastels, your chalk pastel, and then you away that dust, right? And where does all that metal go? Up, poof, into the air, and then you breathe in that metal, and that's when it's bad. And if you're playing with your pastels day after day like a professional artist would, and they're breathing in that dust day after day, that's when you get sick, and that's when it's bad. So certain art supplies, you have to read the warnings and be careful about. So there's warnings with oil paints. There's lots of them have warnings. So just be mindful of it and be careful. Do our pencils have cadmium in them? I don't know. I know
there's a big discussion about like the Holbeins, and that's why they're not in the U.S. yet, is because they can't pass the FDA standards because of things like that. Yeah.
I know cadmium's not the only toxic thing in some of our art
I think
supplies.
There's lead. I think it's like anything, like you said. I mean, wash your hands after you're done using them.
Yep.
And
just be mindful.
Play darts with the boys, and some of those have lead, and we just don't lick the darts and don't lick our fingers afterwards and wash our hands,
Well, and there are lizards. Like we keep pet lizards that are toxic to us, and you're not supposed to lick your lizard or
What?
I'm sorry.
You're not supposed to lick your lizard.
So I think it's like all things, you need to be educated and know what you're doing.
Be wise about it.
And that's why I do my little health and safety things that I know annoy some of you because you already are wise about these things. But I know that there are brand new colorists that watch these and have never heard the health and safety warnings. And so when I learned about soft pastels, someone mentioned, don't blow the dust into the air because some of this stuff is not good for you. And I was like, oh, my little doggy. Of course, like I said, I don't think about myself. I'm worried about little Rose sitting there breathing in the poof. And so then I was like, I can get a cute little vacuum and clean up the poof. And so
Amy, LOL, don't lick your lizards.
Don't lick your lizards. That's your health and safety warning for this video. Don't lick your lizards, people. Okay, so we're going to activate this. Who wanted this one? We're activating Evening Storm. Is that what we're doing?
Yes.
Okay, with the Gamsol.
By the way, let's see. Margie likes the petroleum jelly. That's her favorite.
Yeah, and it's not toxic.
And Kelly liked either the jelly or the odorless mineral spirits.
Yeah. So the petroleum jelly isn't toxic, so it wins over that. But the odorless mineral spirits preserves the the tooth of the paper and allows for multiple layer upon layer upon layer. So it wins over that. So it's kind of a, what do you need? What do you want? The petroleum jelly can be done sitting in a doctor's office while you're waiting for a doctor. Odorless mineral spirits is more what professional artists do, right? Lots to debate. There's other products. I guess I need to say this too. There are other products like Zest It out there, which is sort of, it works kind of like an odorless mineral spirits. I have some now thanks to one of my viewers that sent me some that I'm going to be testing and doing a comparison on. There's also a powdered blender that is out there now that I'm going to be testing and talking about soon too. So there are other options. We're not stuck with either one or the other. There's so many options for blending our colored pencils. So you're not stuck. If you're scared of odorless mineral spirits, just don't use it because there's so many other options. Okay, let's blend. Having said all of that, let's get back and blend this. And I'm going to clean this little blue spot from another day off of here.
Amy asked, wonder if we could put odorless mineral spirits in a water brush.
I've heard someone else ask me that yesterday. Wasn't it yesterday? I've never done it simply because I'm nervous about my odorless mineral spirits. I like the control. I've had water brushes leak, but I have heard of people doing it. Okay, let's see what it does on the light textured one. Odorless mineral spirits will also work to varying degrees depending on the amount of pigment in your pencils. So if you hit odorless mineral spirits to a very cheap pencil like a Crazy Art, you're going to get less bang for your buck. But if you hit it to like a Polychromos or a Prismacolor, it really brings out the pigment because there's so much pigment there to be activated.
Elaine just went and got the mushroom, the purple mushroom desktop.
Oh, I didn't know that. That's awesome.
Now, Blue Petal Media had a good question. I like the look over the petroleum jelly the most.
Yeah.
But what does it do to the color over time or to the page when you close the book?
So you want to leave it out to let it dry. Even since we've been talking, it's already starting to dry. So it doesn't take like days to dry. So you do want to let it dry. I'm not sure if it's going to rub off over time. Look how pretty that turned out. Now when I drag my finger across this, I can almost not tell where the pencil is versus where I haven't colored. And that's because all the fillers are washed away and pretty much all that's left is the pigment and the texture has remained of the paper. So like I said, now I can go back and keep building up and keep washing away. And that's how the professional color pencil artists can get the depth of reality in their work. So that's the benefit of what's going on right here. Petroleum jelly, when I did this, basically fills up all of the tooth of the paper and fills it totally up. Now, petroleum jelly is not a true art product, is it? We don't know about light fastness here. So if you were going to sell this piece of art or really wanted it to last 100 years for the generations to come, don't use it. Because we have no way to test or guarantee that it's going to work. It may rub off onto the back of the next page. It may do that. You could seal your paper with a spray fixative, or you put it under glass so it won't rub. You have options there to seal it and make it a little bit more light, fast, and permanent. So that's an option too.
Robin, I hadn't heard this before, but Robin said that she's worked in nursing homes, and oxygen and petroleum jelly are explosive. So you got to be careful with petroleum jelly in a doctor's office.
So now I have to do a health and safety warning for petroleum jelly.
Don't mix it with oxygen.
Wow. Okay. Good to know. Well, I wonder if, so my question, is she a nurse? Is that what she said?
I don't know that she's a nurse, but...
Look how
shocked
shocked
she
I
says
look.
I've done home nursing.
I just saw my face on the thing. I looked really shocked. So I'm wondering if, like, this, for instance, is mixed with some glycerin and mineral oil and some other things. Does this make it less explosive? Yeah. I'm so interested now.
And then a couple people have mentioned some will put mineral spirits in a blank marker.
Oh, yeah.
You know.
There's so many great ways to do all of this. You can also use rubbing alcohol to blend your color pencils, although I don't think it works all that great compared to some of these, but it does work.
Gail would like to see the tritones demonstrated just kind of as you color.
I know.
We kind of ran out of time tonight for
all
coloring.
My art science took up all our time. I even had a coloring book here ready to do some actual... You should do
a coloring session with them or something.
Yeah, that's what I need to do. Okay, so if you don't know, there is another level. We have multiple levels that you can become members over on coloringbliss.com. One of them is totally free, and I highly recommend it. If you haven't become at least a free member, come on over and become a free member. All you have to do is give us your email address, and we protect your email address. It's just me and Steve and your email address. We don't share it with anyone. What that does is allows us to send you a few emails, and you have access to all the free coloring pages that we put up, and there's some free worksheets as well that you get from time to time as well, and we notify you when we have giveaways and a few events from time to time as well. But beyond the free membership, there are also some other levels, including one called the Apprentice Level, right? Is that the level?
Right.
The Apprentice Level is a level where you get access to some coloring sessions. And it's actually where I sit in front of a camera all by myself. And it's kind of like you get to sit in my art studio with me and watch me color from beginning to end an entire coloring page. You get to see me pick the page. You get to see me pick the colors, why I pick the colors. You get to see me work through problems during the coloring page. If something comes up and I don't know how to fix it, I figure out how to fix it. You get to see me do all of that. So unlike these live events where we don't really have time to go in depth like that, these coloring sessions go really in depth, and you get to see everything from beginning to the end real time. And I think they're fantastic because if you've ever wondered how long does that actually take someone to color something like that, you actually get to see that. And you get to see me have successes and failures and work through it all and come out at the other end with a finished coloring page, and you get to see every tool I use. And if you want to recreate it, I actually give you links to the page I colored, the whole thing. So if that interests you, I totally recommend you become a Bliss apprentice and enjoy some of those coloring sessions. So what I'm going to do is here pretty soon, I will do an entire coloring session using these pencils. That will be a challenge. And I will do a full coloring page with these and see what we come up with. Now I've got them all swatched. That will help me pick my colors, and we'll see what I can create using just these pencils. That will be really fun to try. So watch out for that. Those of you who are either a partner, and when you become a partner, which is the level right above apprentice, partner opens up everything. You get everything that an apprentice gets as well. So whether you're a partner or apprentice, watch out for me to do a coloring session using these beautiful Koh-I-Noor Tri-Tones. So watch for that. Now, another thing to watch for is July 1st. Mark it on your calendar. That's just in a few days. We are going to be launching a brand new special event. We're going to be running this event in July. July is World Watercolor Month, and I'm going to be celebrating World Watercolor Month. And so make sure you mark your calendar. We're going to be doing that at 6 p.m., our normal time, on July 1st.
And then there were questions about Facebook or YouTube. I said Facebook at 6, YouTube at 7.
Yeah, we'll just do our normal routine, 6 o'clock on Facebook and then 7 o'clock here on YouTube to announce this new thing. We've got all kinds of exciting things that I can't tell you about right now because I'm saving it for July 1st. So join us. Make sure you've marked your calendars. And like I said before, if you hit that little notification bell, it will let you know when I come on live here on YouTube. But make sure you're following me over on Facebook as well, so you don't miss that. And also, don't forget, we are giving away a set of these Koh-I-Noor Tri-Tone Pencils, so you can follow the link in the video description for your chance to win these pencils. There's lots of different ways to enter to win, so good luck to everyone. I'm excited for someone to win these and have them and try them out and give me your opinion on these fun tools. And I hope you learned a lot. We covered a lot today. We didn't actually get to color a page, but we did cover a lot of sort of color pencil 101 over the last 2 hours, and that was a lot of fun for me, especially where we're going to be spending July in a lot of watercolor type stuff. And so it was fun for me to spend some time with one of my most favorite art tools, which is color pencils. So
now I did do a little research while you were here
okay.
about Vaseline, petroleum jelly, and oxygen.
Is it explosive?
It can be.
Oh no!
And this says oxygen and Vaseline, when combined with a fuel source, do pose a fire risk.
So you have to like light a match.
Yeah. So at the basic levels of chemistry, you can see that combining oxygen, a source of heat, and any product derived from petroleum will lead to a fire. So they said. There have been some relatively recent attempts to dispel this as a myth. Some medical professionals have claimed that the small amounts of petroleum jelly typically used to lubricate the skin is not enough to pose a significant fire risk. However, there have been cases where these three elements were present: oxygen, Vaseline, and friction. They ignited a fire and it led to second-degree burns.
Just friction?
Yeah. Additionally, several pharmacists, as recently as 2016, wrote that a general lack of evidence on the issue continues to drive their recommendation to avoid petroleum-based products when using oxygen therapy and to use water-based products instead.
So I wonder,
do
you think the friction of blending the pencil
I don't know how much
with
friction
Vaseline,
you would need.
and if you had oxygen, like there might be people here that are on
well, some have
oxygen.
said, you know, they've like people, especially with oxygen therapy, dries out their nose, and they've had doctors use Vaseline to.
Yeah.
But you know, I doubt up the nose there's going to be enough friction to cause a fire.
Be like friction. We've had some really interesting conversations tonight.
I didn't know that, but yeah, it sounds like it could be. So. Anyway.
Wow, we learned a lot tonight,
yes,
didn't
we?
What an interesting evening. We've learned about not licking lizards and don't do a lot of friction like this when you have oxygen therapy.
don't do friction with oxygen and Vaseline up your nose. Okay.
Good health and safety. What a funny conversation. And on that note.
Yes.
Well, I hope everyone enjoyed that. I think we have a few people to say thank you to for donating to our channel.
Yes, thank you, Polly and Jerry Ann. You're so kind.
Thank you so much for supporting our channel. It really does help. And one of the best ways you can help us is to do a nice little thumbs up and comment below. Those two things really do help our channel. It helps the YouTube algorithm think that you enjoyed our videos. So if you can do that for us as well, that really helps our videos a lot. So thank you so much for all your support. We look forward to July 1st and all of our exciting secrets.
Yes.
So hopefully you can join us for that.
Yep.
So thanks everyone, and I hope you all have a wonderful, safe, and colorful, blissful night. Bye-bye, everybody.